All right, today we're doing a full system diagnostic on our financial settings. We're gonna dig deep into our often unspoken, kind of awkward, and definitely programmed relationship with money and figure out how to hit that big reset button.
So let's just jump right in with a question that gets to the absolute heart of it. We spend so much time and energy trying to earn more, right? But what if the real problem, the real bottleneck, isn't the number on your paycheck, but the hidden software that's running in your brain?
To answer that, we've got to look at the source code. Let's start by unpacking why we find it so incredibly difficult to talk about the one thing that, for most of us, takes up most of our waking lives.
Think about it. From a young age, a lot of us just absorb this idea that money is, well, it's kind of crass. It's impolite to talk about. It's treated like this necessary evil. Hear people say things like, "Oh, I don't deal with money," as if it's some kind of virtue to be disconnected from the very tool that runs our world.
And this, right here, reveals this incredible paradox. It's wild, isn't it? We dedicate the majority of our adult lives to earning money, yet we have this deep discomfort and, frankly, a pretty low awareness around it. This disconnect is the source of so many of our financial headaches.
So this brings us to the core reframe. This is about flipping a fundamental switch in how we see money and what its role in our lives is supposed to be. And really, this is the choice we all have to make. When money becomes your master, you become its slave. You chase it, and like a rabbit, it just keeps running away. But when you see it as a servant, it becomes this incredibly powerful tool that works for you, helping you build a life you actually want to live.
This is the trap. Right here, money is supposed to be a facilitator, a means to an end, not the destination itself. The moment it becomes the ultimate goal, the game is over. You've completely lost sight of what actually matters.
Okay, so how do we start seeing money as a servant? Well, to change our programming, we first have to understand where that programming even came from. We basically need to become financial archaeologists of our own lives.
Let me tell you about this guy, Ahmed. He and his fiance are totally ready to buy a house, but every time it comes to signing for a loan, he just freezes. He's paralyzed. Why? Turns out, years ago, his father or his uncle went through a really traumatic bankruptcy. That event from the past, something he might not even consciously think about, is totally dictating his present and putting a huge strain on his relationship. His financial settings are stuck on an old trauma.
And you can do this for yourself. Just take a minute and ask these questions. What were the conversations, or more likely the silence, around money in your house growing up? Understanding your financial history is the absolute first step to rewriting it. A lot of our current money habits are just echoes of these past experiences.
Okay, so with this new self-awareness, now we can start to install a new operating system. And it all begins with a simple but profoundly powerful habit.
This, right here, this is the foundational question. Before you buy anything, just pause for a second and ask, is this a genuine need or is it a want? Our brains are just wired for that instant gratification, for that quick dopamine hit of a new purchase. This simple question forces a moment of conscious thought, and that puts you back in control.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? That need versus want decision. It's not just logical, it's almost always emotional. So much of our spending is driven by feelings, boredom, stress, maybe even envy. When you learn to regulate those emotions, you gain mastery over your wallet. It's that simple.
Let's just blow up a huge misconception right now. So many people think, oh, I'll start investing when I have more money. That is completely backward. Investing is not an outcome. It's a practice. It's a muscle you build over time, not some prize you get for already being wealthy.
How small can you start? This small. Seriously, the amount doesn't matter nearly as much as the consistency. The goal is just to build a habit, to make saving and investing a non-negotiable part of your monthly flow.
This is basically the roadmap for building that habit. Start with whatever you can. Make it regular every single month. Even better, automate it so you don't even have to think about it. And here's a key tip. Put it in a separate account you don't look at every day. Out of sight, out of mind. Then just spread your money around in a basket of different investments. That's it. That's the whole system. So this all brings us to a really crucial question. If money is just a tool and investing is just a habit, then what are we actually building all this for? What's the end goal? Well, it means we need a new definition for it.
Let's be crystal clear about this. The ultimate prize isn't a certain number in a bank account. It's freedom. The freedom to make choices, the freedom to pursue your purpose, the freedom to live without that constant nagging financial anxiety. That is what we are really after.
This offers a whole new way of looking at what that freedom actually is. You see, true wealth, it isn't about having more, it's about wanting less. It's an internal state, not an external number. It's waking up with a sense of purpose and genuine excitement for the day ahead.
So you see, in the end, this conversation was never really just about money. It's about using money as a tool to build a life of intention. Once you manage your emotions and you build those habits, the real work begins, designing a life that is truly deeply wealthy. So the only question left is, what will yours look like?